My name is Sophia. I'm 18 years old, balancing my days between shifts at the local coffee bar and nights trying to tune out the chaos at home. It's not the life I imagined, but it's the one I've got. I grew up without my mom. She passed away when I was 5, leaving my dad and me to figure things out together. For a while, it felt like we had something special, just the two of us against the world. But everything changed when Karen came into our lives. Karen is my stepmom, though calling her that feels wrong. She's not a mom to me, never has been. From the moment she moved in, it was like she planted herself at the center of everything. She had this way of turning my dad's attention completely toward her, leaving me on the outskirts. At first, I tried to make it work. I wanted to believe that having Karen around might make our family whole again. But it didn't take long to see her true colors. She was greedy and manipulative, always asking for money or making subtle digs about how much I cost my dad. When I called her out, she'd laugh it off, saying it was just a joke. But it didn't feel like one. My dad, Daniel, never saw it. He always took her side, brushing off my concerns like they didn't matter. Karen's trying her best, he'd say. Or worse, Sophia, you need to grow up and stop being so dramatic. Dramatic? That word stuck like a thorn in my side. Every day at home felt like walking on a tightrope. I'd go to work early and stay late just to avoid being there. The coffee bar became my escape, a place where I wasn't constantly second-guessing myself or defending who I was. But no matter how much I tried to keep my head down, Karen found ways to make her presence felt. One day, everything came crashing down, and there was no escaping it. I'll never forget how it started, a small, stupid moment that unraveled everything I thought I knew about my life. It was a Saturday morning, one of my rare days off from the coffee bar. I decided to do something I hadn't done in a while. Organize my small collection of jewelry. Most of it wasn't anything fancy, some sentimental pieces from my mom, a couple of earrings I'd saved up for, and a necklace my grandmother had given me when I turned 16. To me, it was priceless. But as I opened the box, a wave of panic swept over me. My favorite gold bracelet was missing. So were the little diamond studs I'd worked weeks of double shifts to buy. At first, I told myself I must have misplaced them. Maybe I left them in my bag or on my dresser. I tore through my room like a hurricane, searching every corner, but they weren't there. That's when a terrible thought crossed my mind. Karen. It wasn't like I hadn't noticed little things disappearing here and there. Spare cash from my wallet, a few gift cards I'd gotten for Christmas. But I always told myself it was my fault. Maybe I sent the money and forgot. Maybe I lost the cards. But this was different. Jewelry doesn't just vanish. I couldn't shake the suspicion, so I started snooping. I waited until Karen and my dad went out to lunch, one of their many weekend dates where I wasn't invited, and I made my move. I felt guilty rummaging through their room, but I had to know. It didn't take long to find what I was looking for. In one of Karen's purses, shoved carelessly into the back of her closet, was my bracelet. My earrings were there too, along with a wad of cash that definitely wasn't hers. My heart pounded in my chest as I stared at the evidence. This wasn't just a misunderstanding. Karen had been stealing from me. By the time they got home, I was shaking with anger. I waited until dinner to confront them. I wanted my dad to hear everything, to finally see Karen for who she really was. We sat down at the table, the tension already thick in the air. Karen smiled like nothing was wrong, asking me how my day was and if I thought about applying to college yet. Her voice was sweet, almost mocking, and it made my skin crawl. I couldn't take it anymore. "Where's my bracelet, Karen?" I blurted out, my voice sharper than I intended. Her smile faltered for a split second before she recovered. "What are you talking about, honey?" she asked, all innocence. "You know what I'm talking about," I shot back. "The bracelet and earrings you took from me. I found them in your purse." The room went still. My dad put his fork down and stared at me like I'd just said something obscene. "Sophia," he said slowly, "you need to be careful about making accusations like that." "It's not an accusation," I nearly yelled. "I saw them. She's been stealing from me, Dad. Look in her purse if you don't believe me." Karen gasped, putting a hand to her chest like I physically attacked her. "Daniel, I don't know why she's saying this," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I've done nothing but try to be a good stepmother to her, and this is how she repays me." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She was twisting it all around, making herself the victim. And my dad, he was falling for it, just like he always did. Sophia, he said, his voice firm now, apologize to Karen. Right now. What? I stared at him, my eyes burning with tears. She's lying, Dad. I'm not making this up. You've been nothing but disrespectful to her since the day she moved in, he snapped. I'm tired of it. You're just jealous of our relationship, and frankly, I'm done with your behavior. Jealous? The word hit me like a slap. He wasn't just taking her side, he was blaming me. I want you out of this house, he said, his voice cold and final. If you can't live here without causing problems, then you can leave. I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. My own father was kicking me out because of her. I didn't even argue. What was the point? That night, I packed a bag and left. As I walked out the door, Karen stood in the hallway, watching with a smug smile. My dad didn't say a word. It was the loneliest, most heart-wrenching moment of my life, but it was also the moment I realized something. I couldn't rely on anyone but myself. A year passed. It wasn't easy, starting over at 18 with nothing but a small suitcase and a part-time job. For the first few weeks, I crashed on a coworker's couch, picking up as many extra shifts as I could. Eventually, I saved enough to rent a tiny studio apartment, just 4 walls, a bed, and a stove. It wasn't much, but it was mine. At first, I thought about my dad and Karen every day. I kept waiting for him to call, to check on me, to apologize. But the call never came. Over time, I stopped waiting. I focused on myself, worked harder, and started taking community college classes. Life wasn't perfect, but it was mine, and for the first time, I didn't feel like I was suffocating. Then, one evening, my phone rang. The number wasn't saved, but I recognized it instantly, my dad. I stared at the screen for a moment, debating whether to answer. Part of me wanted to ignore it, to let him feel the same silence he'd given me. But curiosity, and maybe a sliver of hope, got the better of me. I pressed accept. Sophia. His voice came through the line, frantic and desperate. Please, Sophia, I need you. My stomach twisted. What's wrong? I asked, keeping my voice as neutral as possible. It's Karen, he said, his words tumbling over each other. She left me. She took everything, money, the car, even some of my work equipment. I don't know what to do. I'm lost. I need your help. For a moment, I couldn't speak. I should have seen it coming. Of course, Karen would leave when there was nothing left to take. But hearing him admit it felt surreal. You need my help? I asked, my voice sharp with disbelief. After everything. I know I messed up, he said quickly. I see that now. I should have believed you, Sophia. I was blind. Please, I'm begging you. I've got nowhere else to go. My heart pounded in my chest, a mix of anger, hurt, and disbelief. How dare he come to me now, after throwing me out like garbage? How dare he expect me to save him when he hadn't even lifted a finger to help me? No, I said firmly, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside me. What? His voice cracked, like he couldn't believe what he'd heard. No, I repeated. I'm not helping you, Dad. You made your choice when you believed her over me, when you kicked me out. You said I was jealous, remember? That I was disrespectful. So go ask Karen for help. She's your perfect wife, isn't she? Sophia, please, he begged. I know I was wrong. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm your father. Were you my father when you threw me out at night with nowhere to go? Were you my father when you chose her lies over my truth? No, Dad. You were her puppet, and now you want me to clean up your mess? I'm done being used. I'm done being ignored until it's convenient for you. He was crying now. I could hear it in the way his words broke, in the shaky breaths he tried to hide. I don't know what else to do, he whispered. That's not my problem anymore. I set my voice hard. You let her destroy everything, and now you're dealing with the fallout. I won't be dragged back into your chaos. I deserve better. For the first time, I felt completely in control. I wasn't the scared, heartbroken girl he pushed out a year ago. I was stronger now. I built a life without him, and I wasn't about to let him ruin it. Goodbye, Dad, I said, my voice soft but resolute. Don't call me again. And with that, I hung up. It felt like cutting a chain that had been dragging me down for years. It hurt, but it also felt freeing. As I sat there, the phone silent in my hand, I realized something. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't carrying the weight of his betrayal or Karen's manipulations. I was free. and that was more valuable than any apology he could ever offer. After that phone call, I felt a strange calm wash over me. It was like I had closed a door that I'd been afraid to shut for too long. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was waiting for someone to come around, to see my worth, or to finally choose me. I had chosen myself. Life after that moment felt lighter. I threw myself into my classes and my work, but not in the desperate survival-driven way I used to. This time, I was building something. I joined a book club at the library and made friends who felt more like family than my own ever had. On weekends, I volunteered at a shelter downtown, something I'd always wanted to do but never felt like I had the space for. One day, I was sitting in my tiny apartment, sipping coffee and sketching ideas for a project I was working on for school, when I caught myself smiling. Not a forced, polite smile, but a real one. I realized then that I hadn't thought about Karen or my dad in weeks. Their drama, their toxicity, it didn't hold power over me anymore. I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. The little apartment that once felt like a temporary refuge became my sanctuary. I filled it with plants, books, and memories of the life I was building. Every day, I grew more confident in who I was and what I wanted. I wasn't the same scared, angry girl who had been thrown out of her home. I was someone stronger, someone freer. I don't regret my decision to walk away. It taught me the most important lesson of my life, that my worth isn't defined by anyone else's approval. It's mine to claim, and I'm not afraid to fight for it anymore. I don't know if my dad ever found Karen or if he figured out how to pick up the pieces. But that's not my responsibility. For too long, I carried burdens that weren't mine. Now I'm focused on my own story, the one where I finally get to be the hero.